Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Please put a penny in the old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you have got a halfpenny, then God bless you. It's one of two songs that I know that kind of go together. The other one is Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. And those are two songs that you might have sung if you were going to pass around a hat to collect, right? To beg in the beginning, right? Of doing your play. And the reason that you might have done that at the beginning of your play is actually the coins are actually necessary symbolically to the course of the action of what's going to happen within a mummer's play. And so, what that means is that the begging that people were doing um, in not necessarily ancient times, it could go all the way back though. Like we're talking about a very ancient tradition of the serfs or the servants or the the lower classes going around, but like it's the performers, the artists, right? It's like it's a ceremonial begging at the beginning, the begging. I don't know if that actually is connected, right? The begging and the beginning, the beginning. I don't know, right? But what I do know is that in the traditions that even have been passed down to this day that I'm familiar with through Morris and through everything else that I've ever explored, the begging that they did and the answering to the begging that was done by the people who, like the lord and lady of the land or whoever you were, going around to do Christmas caroling, uh Halloweening, like All Hallows Eve, like you're going hallowing at other people's houses to get treats of some sort in different cultures, different traditions, depending on how they did it. And then it also translates into Christmas caroling and that whole tradition of going around. I'm sure some of you have also watched like a series on like, maybe Victorian or Edwardian England, right? And the traditions that would happen where the lord or the lady would invite the people of the that lived and worked on the land to come for the Christmas dinner, and they'd have the whole thing, right? And so the tradition of having a mummers play or people that would come around and perform like goes way, way, way back. And there's actually like symbolic connections to like sword plays and chivalry with like riding on horses and riding on actually fake horses, like hobby horses, like the whole Knights of the Round Table. Well, we'll get into the history of England, right? And what makes the history of the Isles a little bit different, you know what I mean, than some of the other places. But today I was just going to show you some coins because symbolically, you're supposed to put the coins into the hat so that they can do it's an alchemical, allegorical transmutation, right, of the base metals into gold for God, right? And there's also a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with it. And I am no master. I am no master wizard. I am not a mathematician. I'm very bad at math. My brain doesn't like to think in those ways. It thinks mostly in speech and lyrically, but also musically, which doesn't really help. It's fun to think about music, but man, doing math, my brain just doesn't like it. But we're going to take a look at some coins. The traditional coins that people would have been begging for would have been some part copper, some part silver, some part gold, right? Like you'd have different mixes of what the base metals were that you had available, and maybe you were making coins out of certain things and not out of certain things, or maybe there were counterfeit coins and stuff going around too. Like you always have to be careful of what exactly you were being sold, you know? And so I'm just going to show you some of the coins of my country, which I know will be no surprise to anyone, are kind of crazy in and of themselves. But here I've got just a selection of the coins that you can commonly use in my country right now. I could go to a store and I could use any one of these, right? And so we have a 5 cent piece. This is a Canadian or nickel, sorry, Canadian nickel, 5 cent with the beaver on it. And Our Lady the Queen, rest in peace. Right. Next up we have the dime. This is actually an older dime too. Not like that old. It's I think in 1970. It's either 75 or 73. I can't particularly make it out. But a much younger version of our queen. Very pretty there, right? Going up next we have the quarter. This is like the standard quarter with the elk or caribou on it. And there's our queen again. Maybe I'll leave them all on the queen side for you guys, because as you know, Our Lady, right? Except she's looking in the opposite direction now, so we got to think about that. I don't know. She's looking into our hearts. That's she cares about us. That's why she's looking in that direction. You know. Ah, this is a loonie, so-called. Oops, because of the loon picture on this side. I don't think that the little stamp with the maple leaf is like was always there standard. That's like from a certain edition onwards or something like that. They added that in. Uh, and Our Lady the Queen in her older years. And then we have what's called a toonie, which contains two coins, one wrapped around another. And that's a $2 coin. And there's our queen again. And so you'll notice what we're missing here from the song. Please put a penny in the old man's hat. How are you going to put a penny in the old man's hat if you don't have any pennies? And that's an interesting question to think about. That's something that we're going to have to discuss maybe as well in greater detail in another video. But I just wanted to show you guys something interesting about all of these coins, right? So I've got here, this is just another dime because I wanted to show you guys something. But I've got here a little magnet, right? And so the little magnet will pick up anything that's steel, right? And so actually, most, if not all, of these coins have steel parts on them. This center is not. Center is non-magnetic. I don't know what the center is made out of. Probably brass if I had to guess on the toonie, right? And the only one that the magnet doesn't stick to is the nickel. And I'm not sure if that's because it's actually made of nickel or if it's what it's made out of, right? The dime will stick to it, but the nickel won't. And so I got another nickel just to check. This is a 2000 nickel. I checked it against a 1985. The 1985 also is non-magnetic. So I just wanted to show you guys that out of all these coins, the only ones that are non-magnetic are the nickels. And I don't even know if that's because it's mostly nickel. It would make sense because we're in Canada and Canada does have large nickel reserves, but I don't know. I don't know what the percentage is of anything on that, right? What it means though is that all those coins, they're plated, so it's a steel core, and then there's a certain amount of the metal that whatever they did for the value of the coin that's put onto that, right? But I don't know about the nickels, right? But they retired pennies in Canada like decades ago now. Um, and the reason they retired them is because the value of the penny went up so much, like the copper, that like each of the pennies was worth like 3 cents, just the copper value, right? And because it's not on a core, right? And I think I don't even know how difficult it is to plate the copper, but then once you do it, it just gets wasted anyways. It just wants to come off, I'm pretty sure. And so I have here, these are some vintage pennies. These are 12 from my collection. I just random collection. I have a bag. I have a bag full of pennies. I reached in and I just took out the first little few that I could, and I just took the first 12. I was just going to show them here in case we see anything that we like, right? I could go through the whole thing. I probably have some valuable pennies in there somewhere, right? But who has time to go through everything, right? It's a 2011 with our queen again, right? I'm trying to find some good ones for you here. 2012, right? It's our queen again. I know there's a couple good ones in there, and I'll skip to them because I know where they are. Here they are. I don't have to go through everything. All the rest of these have a picture of the queen on it, right? There's the young, that's like the young version that we saw on the other coin before, right? So we've seen her that young, and we've seen her that old, right? And now I've got some other ones here. That is her when she is very young. Queen Elizabeth. It's not the best coin because it's been around for a while. That's from 1962. It's not bad. I probably have some older ones in there somewhere, but that's just an example, right? There's another one of her in her youth, another older coin. So that stamp has been used for a while, right? Because you've seen it on a newer coin. This is on a slightly older one, 1973, right? And then I have this roll here, which I haven't opened. This roll has always been like this to me. So I just thought it would be fun to like actually crack it open and see what we even have in here. So let's see. We've got a 1985 with the young queen. I'll see if there's any that are like old. There's a 1974. I like the older ones personally. I saw online that there's like a bunch of collectors looking for like the newer ones and stuff, and like 2006 and 2012 and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know. I kind of like the old stuff. It's a 1987, right? Like, who knows if one of these is like worth something? 1997, 97, 397s. Hey, there you go. 1984. George Orwell. There we go. I just like looking at them. But there's something about all these coins. There's a reason why I wanted to show them all to you. And some of you who are more astute may have realized this already. Let me just open up this roll here because it's It's old. It's old tape. I don't want to get the dust all over my cloth here. Yeah, and there's a corroded American penny in here. That's funny. Okay, let's get this out of here. Take a look. Hold on. Okay, I'll show you some more here and then we'll go through the rest of them. What do we got? 1964, right? Yeah, the reason I wanted to show you guys all these coins is every single coin that I've ever seen since I was a kid has always had a picture of Queen Elizabeth's face on it. Always, you know? And now they're kind of like phasing out coins, right? Like how many of you carry coins in your pocket anymore? Probably pay for everything with a card if you even have to use your card anymore. You probably tap your phone or use an app or something, right? That's pretty. That's a pretty one, right? You can still see your crown on that. What age is that? That's a 1965. See if I can get it to focus again. Come on. There we go. 1965. That's a pretty version of the queen, right? You can still see the definition on it, right? Versus the 1982. That's pretty nice too. You know, where are you gonna find those nowadays? If you had to find them, right? Huh. Even just to ceremonially partake in your religious activities, per se, right? Because if one of the coins that I need to be collecting is indeed copper, this one has a little bit of corrosion on it, so I'm not going to put it down with the other ones. It's in 1981. I think this was the one that was right up against the American, which I'm currently palming my other hand because it's still in the roll with the rest of this. So let's see if I can get this open. Oh, lost one. Into the trash it went, so I'll have to dig that out eventually. But I think we can afford to not look at one penny today. I'll leave that for another time. Unless I get desperate. Okay, here we go. I just didn't want to get all that dust all over everything because of this guy. This guy. Troublemaker. What do you get? So, see if I can get it to focus again. Yeah, that's our American 1 cent. Highly corroded on this side. 1973. And also, it's also printed so that you can flip it up, you know? So, I'm gonna put that over to the side. Make sure I don't get the dust all over everything. Yeah, I shouldn't even be really handling these other coins. Let's see. I'll just do it with my pinky finger. There we go. A 1981, a 1978. That one's so pro that I can't read it, but it's not old. And that one's so corroded I can't read it, but it's not old. Okay, so this is the only nice one out of what's left there. That's the nicest one. 1981. There we go. So I recently heard that they were retiring U.S. pennies. Right? Probably a good idea at some point. Everybody has to do it at some point, but I don't know. It's like from my perspective, it's like every coin that I ever had while I was growing up was had a Queen Elizabeth on it. And I'm not saying that like the world was perfect under Queen Elizabeth. seemed like the world was like a slightly nicer place. You know what I mean? Like, seemed like we didn't have so many problems going on. And now it seems like they're trying to slowly erase all of that. I just think that's an interesting, feature of, I don't know, just the way history goes, I guess sometimes maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to look at it, you know? Make new friends, keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. I don't have any gold coins to show you. You guys have already seen my Morgan silver dollar. That was in another episode. I put it in the hat just so that we would have symbolically something silver with us. We've got our copper, the halfpenny. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do, right? And so I know they would have been looking at least for copper, nickel, silver, and gold when they were begging. Um, and those would have been the coins that would have been commonly available at the time, right? And they're trying to beg for them so they can do the allegorical, alchemical ritual story of transmuting the base elements into gold. But it is really complicated, and I don't even know all the steps, guys. I'm just some guy who lives in his basement who read some cool stuff one time and thought it'd be fun to show some stuff on YouTube. And so, I'm just trying to show you guys like potential, the possibility, that where the beginning of the story might be. There's a few places that it could be, a few places it could go from here, but if you're gonna do the full shebang, the full 9 yards, the full ritual, you have to be able to do the basics, and one of the basics is, strangely enough, begging for a few simple coins. It's an ancient ritual that's been around probably almost as long as coins have existed, you know? But if you think about all of the other things that we could talk about, the tooth fairy. We'll get to the tooth fairy. That's coming up, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever the fun stuff you guys want to do. I'm just here hanging out, having a good time on a Christmas Eve. I hope you guys are having a nice day. And yeah, if you guys are enjoying the show, come hang out for some more. We'll see you again for the next one. Have a good one.